Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started, Madam Chair. I'm ready when you are.
All right, good afternoon, or well, I guess it is afternoon. Welcome to Benteen Elementary's Go Team meeting where we'll follow the agenda as it's been emailed to you. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team and only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public, I don't think we have them today. So for members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I'm pleased to call this meeting to order at 4:05. Our first order of business is a roll call. The secretary will now take roll.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so Jasmine Brasier, parent guardian.
Here. Present.
Johanna Dakotas Smith.
She's not here. She's in the student event with the parent.
I saw her, yes. Allison Stewart, instructional staff.
Not here.
I am Sandra Romero. I'm here, present. Courtney Obi,
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Leah Austin,
I'm here.
community member Mill Thomas.
He's here. He said he's leaving.
I see the
Dr.
screen.
Fleming.
I see the screen. Yes, okay. And if they join us with the swing seat, Jarvis Buckholz. No. Okay. That's it.
All right. The team will only take official action if quorum is present. Is quorum present?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 5.
6 and count me. So yes.
Quorum is present.
Mhm.
All right. So now we'll proceed to the discussion items. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies available via email. So are there any changes to the agenda? Changes?
No changes. Looks like we just need a motion.
All right, motion to approve the agenda.
So I saw your mouth move, Mr. Mill. So moved. We need a
All right, can we
second.
get a second?
I second.
All right, well, we will move forward with the agenda. We will approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections? No correction? All right, if there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
Note said so moved, I think.
Now, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
So moved.
All
So
right, a
Dr.
second.
Austin.
I'm trying to help Milt out so he's not joining.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm just, I make a motion if it's already been made
Okay,
for approving the minutes.
okay, a second.
I think Dr. Austin made the motion, so we need a second, Mr. Mill. Are you seconding the motion?
I'll second that motion.
Gotcha.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. All right, thank you. So our first action item is. Oh, we did that. Oh, the strategic plan update.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I see my screen still.
Yes.
We got the PowerPoint kind of walk through the rest of the items on the agenda, so it'll kind of flow through, Madam Chair. And when we need to stop to do some adoption or action, I'll make sure we stop and take care of those pieces as they come up. So this is our second Go team for the year. Where we are, our strategic plan is the guide for the work we're doing in the school. By monitoring the plan and ranking priority, we can work towards common goals. Using the priorities in the strategic plan, the school leadership team develop a continuous improvement plan for this current school year. And so timeline, so we're almost at the point where it's time to talk about budget. And so, but before we get to that point, we have to utilize our data. We'll review and determine if we need to make any changes or adjustments to our strategic plan, our priorities, and our plan itself. And then after the winter break, we'll come back and we'll be in full swing of budget season. We'll talk about enrollment, projections, and all that good stuff. So our discussion items, we're going to talk about Georgia Milestones math data because it has been released since we met last. Our continuous improvement plan presentation, our fall map data, continuous improvement plan and strategic plan updates, and then we're going to rank our priorities, and then we're going to have some announcements, some information for you, and then we should be done. So our current strategic plan, and those who may not remember, the strategic plan is just how our guiding work, like what we use to kind of determine who we are and what we do. So it has our vision, our mission, it has our SMART goals that we're working towards, and it has like our strategies, our priorities, and what we're going to use to make this happen. So if you look at it as it is now, our strategic priorities are the district provided initiatives. Our school priorities are in the middle column, and our school strategies to reach those priorities are in column 3. And so we've, I think, looked at this at every Go Team meeting for the last few times. So I want to revisit that as we're going to talk a little bit about this middle column around the school priorities when we start ranking and talking about what happens, what we want to focus on for budget. All right. Let's talk a little bit about our data. So again, milestones math data came in. Last year was the first year we had new state standards. And so what you see on your screen now is Atlanta Public Schools elementary math performance compared to Benteen's elementary school math performance. And so you see the district had 31% of their students score proficient and above. Benteen had 35% of our students score proficient and above. So we exceeded the district when it comes to math performance for the Georgia milestones on the new standards. We had about 37% of our students in the beginning category, which is the red, compared to the district at 35%. 33% were developing, and 27% were developing for Benteen. So we have some points of pride to celebrate. We have some good things. Our math numbers are moving in the right direction. And so to give you a closer breakdown by grade level, you look, our third graders were the greatest performing group we had in our building. They had 47% of their students score in the proficient and above category. So almost half of our third graders score on grade level and beyond. So that was a huge lift for that compared to the district, which was at 38%. Our fourth graders for Benteen were at 40%. At the district level, they were at 39%. We beat the district average of proficient and above for that. For fifth grade, we were at with 22% for math, and then for the district, they were at 33%. So we also ground in fifth grade, but again, overall, a really strong year for us at Benteen in terms of our students' performance in the areas of mathematics. And again, see that we are performing just as well as or slightly better than the district in some grade levels is a good step in the right direction, because that wasn't always the case. And then our fall map. So every year, the district provides, everybody takes what we call the map assessment. It's NWEA map. It's a norm reference test. And so we take it every year as our universal screener. And so this kind of just shows you where our students in grades 2 through 5 are in terms of performance. And again, this is assuming that they're coming in cold from the summertime. They take the assessment to see that what they bring to the table. And so as you see with our second graders, 20% in mathematics are 21% are at our on grade level for second grade at the start of the school year. Look at math for third grade, it is 30%. Look at math for fourth grade, it is 31%. And in fifth grade, it is about 18%. Just for mathematics. And looking at the reading, you see is 19% for reading for second grade, 34% for third grade for reading, 26% for fourth grade in reading, and then 33% for fifth grade in reading. So some of our kids are coming already ready to receive the new content or the new standards or new instruction for this year based upon what they retained from the previous year or what skills they bring to the table. And I will say right now, our students are taking the winter map assessment. And so we look at that to determine like how we predict they may perform on the Georgia Milestones assessment. So this kind of gives us a look into where kids may perform and how we can make an adjustment to support them during the second semester to ensure that they are equipped with the skills to be proficient and above in the Georgia Milestones in the spring semester. We will take math again in the spring. right before we take the Georgia milestone, but the biggest growth usually occurs from fall to winter, which is where we are now. Okay, so now we saw a little bit of data. Is there anything you noticed, any wonderings you have? Anything that stood out to you? Things that we need to focus on more attention-wise? I will say what we did not see in this particular presentation was our ELA and science. We discussed those in a previous Go Team meeting, but we are focused heavily on science instruction this year because we did take a slight dip last year in our proficiency. But in terms of what you saw for math and for the milestones, are there any questions, concerns, or wonderings that you noticed? I will say we do think that the current math standards are at just about the right level because our students have grasped them very well, and so we are hopeful that at this current pace that our kids will continue to perform because they're getting that foundational skill that's just enough to get them the appropriate level of stretch, support, and remediation as needed. So it's a lot less dense, and so you're able to get a little more deeper into the content versus trying to cover so much at one time. So we are excited about that. I will share this month, you will see the College and Career Readiness Performance Index scores come out, and it will give us a score by different domains. There's a content domain, which is how we do on our milestones. There's a progress, how our kids grow from year to year, and a gap, how we close the gap between our different subgroups, and a readiness portion that will come out. But that'll be released by the state, and there's an individual score for each component. There's not a overall score anymore, so it's the individual score for each component. And once it's released, we'll probably schedule some meetings with parents, kind of talk about what that means, and how parents can help us at home. One of the things that is happening today is we are piloting an academic parent-teacher team concept for grades 1 and 3, where we get parents on board to help us support like those foundational skills that help kids, excel. Like for the lower grades, they're working on glued sounds and popular sight words. Third grade working on multiplication facts. So things that our parents can help at home to help move our kids forward. And so we're hopeful that these additional initiatives to get parents involved and giving parents a resource to know how to help at home will be a benefit to our students and our community.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So what are the school's goals for the scoring? Like where do you want to see it go
So
compared
that's
to?
coming up next. Great question.
Yeah.
And so our continuous improvement goals, our goals for this year by May 2025 was to increase our ELA performance by at least 3% from 29% to 32%. But by 2025, we already exceeded that goal this school year, like this past school year. But because this plan is set for 2 years, we will reevaluate in the spring or the summer for the coming year. But this is where we wanted to get to at least 32% in literacy. And our other thing is that our secondary goal is to decrease the percent of students in the beginning category by at least 5 percentage points. So I don't have the ELA data at my hand right now, but the goal is to get more kids in the proficient and above while decreasing that red. And so if I look at the math, our goal was to go from 28% to at least 31% while decreasing the percent of students scoring in the beginning category. So if I look back to our math data, so we were trying to get 31, we're at 35%. So we're already ahead of the goal for this school year for our continuous improvement plan for mathematics. But now since we got the proficient and above, we want to maintain that, but also we want to detract from this number 37%. We want to get fewer kids scoring in that category this year on the Georgia milestones. Does that answer your question a little bit, Mom?
Yes, it does. I also could you identify like some particular activities, or I'm saying activities, but things that happen within the last 2 years that you think got to that increase that you all are looking for?
Yeah, so one of the things that we do in the spring semester, we do tutorial, but we haven't done the last few years the traditional tutorial. Our tutorial has been an enrichment for kids who are at this middle ground, so it's 27%. We would target those kids in that bubble to kind of push them up towards the green. And then some of the kids in this red who are on the cusp, try to target them to get toward the others. We're trying to move more kids. We've been targeting kids who kind of live in this area right here to push them to the next performance domain. So we've done that for the last 2 years at least, 2 to 3 years possibly. And we've used that to kind of help support students. Also, in the last 3 years, we had an extended school day for elementary schools. So we had an extra half an hour on the school day. And the district, we utilized that time for what we call intervention for reading and math. So kids who needed the most support got it every day in the school for at least 30 minutes a day. So that those things, the targeted tutorial and the intervention, I think, were what made the biggest bang for our buck in terms of turning the numbers. We don't have that 30 minutes now. And so we're being more strategic about how we focus on tier one or like the general classroom instruction so that we can provide great instruction at the base so we can build upon that for the other kids. And I will say next semester, our plan is to do a twofold tutorial, a tutorial for kids who need remediation, but also a tutorial for kids who need to be extended or stretched. So we're trying to figure out how we balance and navigate that and align teachers based upon their academic strengths. We can kind of target the strongest person for mathematics to work with the kids who have the most opportunity to grow in math, and similar for reading and ELA. Great question. Any other questions or wonderings? All right. So as we referenced our continuous improvement plan, our goal is to continue to move kids forward and proficient and distinguished categories while decreasing at the same time the kids who are scoring in the beginning category. And then for our whole child intervention, we are monitored for attendance. So we're focused on how do we make sure that our kids come to school. So if you're a parent here, we are a staff member, we have attendance gym jam, we have holiday attendance parties and challenges. And they're paying off for us in huge numbers. Like we've had some great increases in our attendance over the last year compared to previous years. So those things are still going forward to help us make sure we get kids in school, because if they're not here, and as we say in the morning pledge, it's just not the same. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, so as I told you, the continuous improvement plan is like our framework of what we're going to do to support and move the needle for kids. And so it's a day 45 or quarter check-in, just to see where we are and what actions that we've already completed. And we can make sure that the things that we're working on making us get the outcomes we desire to see. And so the first thing, our continuous improvement globe for ELA is here. We have these action steps. So we have ones that are completed, and then we have ones that are in progress. So I'll give you a chance to look at those to see what we are currently doing. So we've built a schedule that allows for our English language teachers and our SWB teachers to have planning time with their grade levels or the class they support at least twice a month. And then we use dual language immersion as our ESOL delivery model to have addressed those needs for our ELL and Hispanic subgroup students. What we currently have in progress are targeted PL for staff to continue to build capacity, differentiation, assessment uses, science of reading, and monitor engagement with the instructional framework. Again, using DLI as a way to engage our students, and developing a school writing plan. So writing is a huge part of the Georgia Milestones Assessment and ELA. So we are targeting and working on how do we build a writing plan to support and improve our students' performance in writing. Because a lot of kids who don't get the proficient or distinguished, they may have missed because they got a low score in the writing portion. And writing is, I believe, at least 46% of the assessment. So that's a huge piece. If you don't get the writing, then chances are you're not going to get proficient or distinguished unless you just knock the multiple choice portion out the park. And you might land in the area where you may have proficient or distinguished, but that is what we're focused on this year when it comes to ELA. Mathematics, again, similar concept, DLI, co-teaching, planning time, PO for teachers around mathematics and problem solving and mathematical modeling, use of manipulatives in the classroom to help solidify learning for students. And then with implementing weekly data protocol meetings to ensure teachers are understanding misconceptions prior to teaching. One thing that helps us in the area of mathematics is that the district provides unit assessments. So we have a pre-assessment, a mid-assessment, and an end-of-unit assessment to kind of keep us on pulse with where kids should be. And so we kind of know before they get to the end of the unit, if things are not moving well, we kind of have multiple checkpoints to make sure that we can stop, pause, reflect, and adjust. And that's provided to us by the district. And so that's been beneficial to help us keeping a better pulse on where kids are performing and to know where to target if we have areas of concern. And then the last goal is for our attendance. And so we have completed everything for attendance. We're still in progress, but the WCI, the whole child intervention team, meets bi-monthly or bi-weekly to look at all data points to determine where kids need to have the most support in terms of keeping them in school. We're trying to do a better job of sharing attendance information with our parents because in elementary school, let's be honest, if a child doesn't come to school, it's usually an adult decision. So they don't drive themselves. We have to figure out how we get parents to know that this is how they contribute to the overall climate and culture of our school because schools are graded on our attendance. And so that is one thing we work on. We have an attendance traveling trophy. So every month, the grade level that has the best attendance gets a traveling trophy and they get to hang outside their classrooms. And it's a big to do. So in the previous months, pre-K and kindergarten have gone back and forth with the traveling trophy. And I believe this month, fifth grade has it. So they're super excited. They finally made it to the big kids hallway. So just trying to find ways to incentivize and get kids excited. Plus we have the gym jams and the attendance challenges. And the parents and the kids are excited about it. Kids are so excited. Parents are like rushing to get to school because you can't be late or tardy during the window of the challenge. So parents are hustling and bustling, getting the kids in the building. And if they miss it, the parents are like, well, my child didn't get it. He was here. And so it's a good problem to have because, again, parents are on board with understanding that it's important to the kids. And we want to make sure that it's important to the school and the parents as well. Okay, so now we talked a little bit about our goals, our progress. Is there anything that you think we need to address that's not been addressed in our current strategic plan that we need to consider given our performance on our different assessments?
Do you think something should be added?
I know. I think we've been very intentional about trying to align like the SIP with the strategic plan to make sure that they kind of speak to each other and kind of provide that filler. But anything that stuck out is like, that's not a good strategy. You may want to say, let's consider, or do you think everything so far seems to align? It could be as simple as a yes, no question.
No, I think it's fine, me personally.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, I think you all have put a lot of intentionality into it. That's clear. And I think that, because you're seeing results that are in the right direction, it feels like let's double down on what seems to be working as opposed to bringing something in new and not quite knowing how it's going to impact the outcomes you're having. So I thumbs up keeping the plan as it is.
All right. All right, so a couple of things. What progress has been made towards supporting the priorities identified in our strategic plan, and what evidence do we have? So one thing that we do that is not always public knowledge is that we have an extended planning time for reading and math instruction. So majority of our teachers, we're working on our special education resource teachers to get them some access for this extended planning time, but majority of our homeroom teachers have 90 minutes for math and ELA every other week for planning. So it gives them a chance to think about what you're going to teach, how you're going to teach it, how you're going to assess it, how you're going to plan for it, how you're going to reteach based on the data you have from the previous week's assessment. So we've been intentional about building our schedule that allows for that to happen every week. So every grade level has that 90-minute planning time at least once a week. So like that has been a benefit towards helping us like be really intentional about how we support instruction. Again, I know we're working on particularly our self-contained or our resource classrooms, our regional programs, giving them more access to plan with the coaches. There's logistical challenges we have to work through, but we're working on trying to get them more time to plan for and have that contact with the coaches. And then something that we've done different this year is that our staff meetings are set by the month. So, for example, every first Tuesday is an administrative-led faculty meeting. Every second Tuesday is based upon the science of reading instruction, which is the big thing with dyslexia and everything coming out from the state and the House bill that came out that was passed. So we focus on science reading training. Every third Tuesday is around our signature program, which is IB. And so every fourth Tuesday, we alternate department meetings. So we have a meeting for our Spanish speaking teachers, our English department teachers for DLI, our K2, 3, 5, our math, our reading, our traditional classes, giving them a chance to talk as a cohort to tell how you can strengthen instruction across the building, across grade bands, and across content areas. So we've really been intentional about setting some structure around our staff meeting times. We can make sure we can maximize opportunity for development for everyone, because we all have to get certified, get work towards, getting more information about the science of reading and how it impacts what we're doing and what the state expects us to do. So we've been intentional around building that. Plus, this allows us to address our subgroups. So our ESOL teachers, our SWD teachers, they get a chance to meet at least once a month after school, dedicated to make sure they can address and support and identify what they need the most help with when it comes to planning for instruction. And then anything
Dr. Lovett,
uh-huh.
hey, I just wanted to say, with regards to the special ed teachers and our planning periods, we do have great instructional coaches that even though we may not be able to attend at that time, they're readily available for us. They come to us. So we really, even though it's not planned in, anytime we need them, they're literally like a text away and we can chat at the door. They'll come by. So they're readily available to us anyway.
Yes, I love that. But I still want to get you more time. I'm working to get y'all a little more time, but I'm glad that
Well, I appreciate it.
that we have that connection. But that's in the moment. Sometimes it happens the best when it's it lines up that way. And then the only thing that I think we should maybe make to the strategic plan is under 1C. I think right now it says third and fourth grade expansion, but we're at the point where DLI is pre-K through fifth grade. It's in all grade levels. So I think updating that piece will probably be the only thing that I would say needs to be updated to reflect where we are currently. And that will go here. So that's the only thing I can think of. And if I pull up our strategic plan, we can see it again just for, we can all see it from where we are. Okay. Screen one. Y'all see my screen now? So that's the
Yes.
only place
Yes.
right here on the 1C where it says reflect and revise IB unit planners at the implementation, especially for grades 3 and 4 as the DLI program expands. This was done 2 years ago, so now the DLI is through fifth grade. I think we should update it so it reflects pre-K through fifth grade, because that's something that's ongoing every day. That would be the only thing I would recommend that will need to be changed or updated to reflect where we currently are. All right, so now I'm going to, now we have to vote on that one change for our strategic plan. So we need a motion for that, to make that update to the strategic plan in a second.
Make the motion to update that strategic plan.
I second the motion.
So that's motion by Mill, second by Obi. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any nays? Motion carries. So I will update the strategic plan to reflect that information and upload it to the website between now and Friday. All right, so now the next part, preparing for budget development. We've analyzed our strategic plan, and so that's what we use to help us identify our areas of priority and focus for budgeting when it comes to next month or next semester. And so on the next slide, what I did, I've copied and pasted the rankings we did last year, so we have time to talk about what we want to change or move around, if anything. So this is what we voted on last year in terms of our rankings for our strategic priorities. We focused on student reading and language development. We increased staff knowledge on math and ELA reading best practices to impact student learning. We developed a culture with the emphasis on social emotional learning. We increased the implementation and intersection of IB and DLI. We built staff capacity around ELL learners and strategies and tenets of IB, building a school structure to provide support and opportunities for staff feedback, and professionally develop the teaching staff by providing tailored, specific PD based on their collective individual strengths and weaknesses. So from 1 to 7, that's what we ranked everything last year. So I'll give you a chance to look and see and think, do we need to move anything else or move anything around? Does it still align with what we are based upon the data we've reviewed and what we discussed? We want to keep it in this order. We want to move something higher or lower, depending upon where we feel right now. So as it is now, our first two priorities are around reading and language and mathematics, which is again aligned to our SIP, which is like focused on literacy and numeracy. SEL, one of the things that we're focused on, in particular when we budgeted last year, was around the student experience. And so we budgeted to have my art teacher and our music teacher full time, because trying to cram music and art in 2.5 days on either side of the week, it feels rushed, didn't feel it as intentional as we wanted it to be. So that gives a chance to focus on school culture, but we still maintain SEL every morning from 7:45 to 8 o'clock. So we got to teach little kids how to be good big kids and how to be big good people. So still maintaining that, still thinking about how we intersect IB and DLI. IB being global minded, how we interact with the world, who we are, how we organize ourselves, and understanding that language is a key part of who we are as a school community around bilingualism and being bilingual, having being able to speak, read, and write in another language. And then building staff capacity. Like, we always want to get better. So that's how we got to where we were last year with the ranking. But is there anyone who thinks we need to change, or we want to keep it as it is?
I think it should be kept as is. I don't see anything that to prompt a change.
Okay. I agree. Should we get a motion? And a second.
Right. I do I wait, can I do, are you gonna do it or do it? To make them, can we make a motion to continue on with the priorities of the strategic plan?
Make a motion to keep the priorities of the statement of the strategic plan continued on that path.
A second,
A second.
all in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? All right, the motion has been approved.
All right. All right. So now we got that out of the way. Where are we going? So at our next meeting, we'll begin the discussion of the 25-26 budget. And we get our budget, I think my budget meeting is scheduled for the 21st. And so at that meeting, we'll get the projections of the budget. And we do know, if you do not know, Atlanta Public Schools has a $100 million budget deficit. And so we'll learn what that impact, or what the impact of that would be on schools in this budget cycle. They've had a couple of budget meetings to talk about priorities and what they're going to do. The challenge is we're still paying pensions from previous years, and so I believe next year is our last like big year of pension. Then it goes away, and then we have an influx of cash. So, but we got to survive the next year of lean budget. But there's a lot of conversation about how they can make that and minimize impact to schools and minimize the impact disrupt to communities. But we'll get more information about what that looks like for us next year when we have the budget conversation in January. All right, so quote by Robert J. McCain: strategic planning will help you fully uncover your available options, set priorities for them, and define the methods to achieve them. And we talk about where we're going. We've already done that. We've taken action on our strategic plan updates, and we've approved it. If you have any questions, feel free to let me or Chair Brazier know, and we can follow up. And so now principal's report. So my principal's report is very short. I will share that we are in the window for school choice. Um, and so families who are wanting to come to Benteen for kindergarten through fifth grade are in that phase of applying for a school choice. Um, just for context, I did reach out to our demographer for the district and asking for some numbers because I want to make sure everybody who's supposed to go to Benteen comes to Benteen or can come to Benteen. And I shared with the staff yesterday that there are 234 families who live in 234 students who live in the Benteen zone. And we get about 80% of the people who live in our zone come to Benteen. And so that's a great number. Most of us, that's a very good number for Atlanta Public Schools, especially as we live in the land of charter schools. And then the other piece is this year, 102 families are at Benteen for school choice. So roughly a third of our population comes to Benteen for school choice. So I'm super excited about that work and want to continue that move forward. People are choosing us not just for DLI, mind you, they're also choosing us for traditional education as well. So super excited about families choosing Benteen over, the plethora of options they have in the Jackson cluster and in our community. But the other big piece is that the security grant. So as you all may remember or may not know, last year, the governor approved funds for schools to update security in their buildings. And so we got about $45,000 to help go towards security upgrades. And so number one, these are the things that we prioritize at Benteen, the things that we have funded or are trying to fund. So the first thing is a badge reader at the side cafeteria door and the door from the primary hall to the outreach garden. So if you come to Benteen, that door by the cafeteria on the side where people come in and out, getting a badge reader there so the custodial staff can take the trash out easier and have easier access, plus staff can come into that door as well. That's about $8,000 estimated cost. We've already got the approval for Smart Choice Technologies. They're going to be the ones who are going to upgrade those two doors for us. The other door is at the end of the K2 hallway, going to the outreach garden and the amphitheater and outer learning space. They have to go all the way around the building to get back into the building. So we're trying to put a badge reader there so they can go straight from the classroom to the space, back to the space in the classroom without having to walk around the whole building to get to it. Project number two is fencing along Function Avenue. So at the very front of Benteen, along Function Avenue, there's a sidewalk and people park on the street. One thing we've noticed is that sometimes families in the morning during arrival will walk between the parked cars and the staff members to get to the main building. And that's dangerous because it's a slant, it's a blind spot. So if you're trying to turn in, you won't necessarily see someone, coming in or see walking through the spot. So the fence will help direct families towards our crosswalks where we have staff members stationed to ensure safety. That's estimated to be $12,860, and it's Allied Fence is the kind of thing we're going to go with for that fence on the entire front side of Function. Project 3 is the exterior window wraps along the front of the building. So we have a lot of windows at Benteen. It's beautiful, it's lovely, it's gorgeous. But I tell people, if you can see out, people can also see in. And so as a measure of safety, we've partnered with a company called Loud Crowd. They came out and they're going to do some customizable window coverings so we can look out and see if people can't look in as clearly as they can right now. And it's for safety reasons. I know that one thing, a lot of parents walk in the morning time, they walk and see that their children walk from the front to past the office, down the hall. But again, if you can see it, the person who may not have good intention can also see. So we're trying to make sure we prevent and have an extra layer of support for us around the front of the building. Part number 4 is the exit mechanism for the playground fence. So there's a fence around the playground now, but to get out, you have to kind of be very tall to exit. We want to kind of make that process a little bit easier for people to get in and out of the playground. And we're waiting for a quote from Allied Fence for that. And then the other ideas we're considering is a staff badge reader at the playground gate. So it controls access. Only staff members who have a badge can enter in and out of the playground gate during the school day or when after school hours. And the other thing we're considering is on the front of the building, on the side near the lower grade primary halls by the marquee, there's not a lot of light there anymore. There used to be street lights there. But then we had a storm some years back, one of the hurricanes that came through and knocked some trees and power lines down, and there was no lights put back in that spot. So we're looking at how can we do more to lighten up that part of the campus, so we can make sure that building staff members feel safe if they're here early in the morning, or they're here late in the afternoon, going back and forth. So that's what we have in terms of our priorities for funding for the security grant. Well, we'll start seeing upgrades and updates to the campus between now and early next semester. But we think we focus on the right things to make sure we can maximize safety for our students and our staff and our families. Kind of make sure we can, again, maximize safety and also make sure, it adds to the appeal of our campus. We're going to get a very nice space put along the front to kind of help guide people to the different spaces for safety reasons. So super excited about having that opportunity for that and the other things that we think will help operation wise for the school building. The last thing, announcement. I mentioned school choice transfer window is December 2nd through December 20th. Our PTO has a dine out on Friday at Nonstop. This Friday, you can call in your order, pick it up, or go after work and just say Benteen, and we'll get a percentage of the funds for to go to our PTO. Tonight, as I mentioned, our APTT, Academic Parent Teacher Team Night, our pilot night. So we're piloting with first and third grade families to get, again, try a different way to engage families around supporting school initiatives, school instruction. We do a lot of great social things. We're going to start doing more things that are social, but also academically supportive of the school and our goals, and get the parents on board with helping us move things forward. Our school spelling bee is December 18th. Our winter holiday concert is December 19th at 9 o'clock. Our end of semester parties is the 19th from 1 to 2. The last day of the semester is 12/20/24. And our first day of semester 2 is 1/6/2025. And then I forgot one, and my PTO will be very upset. We are in the midst of a fundraiser for Double Good popcorn. We finally got on board with popcorn and Double Good. So we are raising money this week. I think it goes through Friday, I believe. If you want to place an order, let me know. I'll get you a link. But I think we're trying to raise money for it. They want to do some language learning for our families to get families involved and engaged with learning language, whether you're learning English or Spanish to English, to kind of build the capacity around increasing opportunities for us to communicate as a school community. And those are all the announcements. I will say one more thing. Benteen was recognized as the school, let me get it right, School's First Family Engagement Award. We were identified as having the best family engagement of schools in the district. And so we were recognized at the district's APS Award at the gala last month. So super excited about that. That was a very high moment for us because we really work and are very intentional about how we support our families here at Benteen. So we do a lot of good things, and we don't do it by ourselves. We don't do it in isolation, but having a chance to get our parents, the community involved, and having district leadership recognize our efforts is a very good feeling for our school community. And so that's all I have. Madam Chair, I think that's probably on the agenda.
Okay, yes, we've reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time?
And there was no public comment when I looked earlier.
Right, okay. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right, a second.
I'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. Any abstentions? All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic holiday.
You're welcome.
Y'all too.
Thank you.
All right.
Next time.
Bye. Have a good day.
You.